Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today in the review room, we are going to take a look at a flashback figure, the very first TV show Rick Grimes action figure that was ever released back in, 2011 or something like that? Does it say? Yeah, 2011. Now, Chris, a MAP member, sent this in. I was so against opening it. He sent it in to get it opened and review, and I was just like, I can't. It's so beautiful. This is a home run. The packaging, the design, the layout, but not only that, the box is like 7 years old, and it is gorgeous. The front here plastic is so clean and proper. I begged, I pleaded, I said, please don't make me do it. But he made me do it. So I cut it. We're going to open it up and take a look. And yeah, I am a cornball. I cut it in a way where I'm going to put him back in this to hang him on the wall. Simply because it's not just, I don't care. Like, I'm not a toy collector. I have stuff on display because I like the detail. I think it looks cool. But this, the display and everything like that, there's something about it that looks cool as a display. So I want to keep it as a display afterwards instead of having them open. But I thought it'd be interesting if we're opening the very first. We can also look at the others, mainly the face sculpt, maybe some articulation to see where they improved. And you guys can tell me which one is your favorite. I already know right off the bat, just putting these guys on the table, which one is my favorite. Face sculpt, that is clear as day when you'll see them. Anyway, since I cut it open, let's just get right into it, I guess. So, I'm dying to know what this is. Is that a sticker? Is that just a piece of cardboard? I've always wondered what that is. I have a Bicycle Girl that I opened long ago. See, I love that yellow, I don't know, there's something about the old packaging that looks so cool, man. Something about that. But yeah, I had a Bicycle Girl, and I completely forget what was this in here. It's just a piece of paper with double-sided tape on it. But yeah, I like that. I want to hang that up somewhere. A little Walking Dead thing. Maybe I'll put it on the shelf or something. Yeah, I'm corny a little bit, but what are you going to do? Anyway, so there's Rick. Hold on. That looked a lot better before. There. So there's Rick out of package finally. It's been 7 years in the making. Let me take a moment to bring him out of this plastic, because if I do it on camera, it's going to be so loud, you'll want to find me, hunt me down, and punch me in the head. Alright, so here he is. Just pulled him out of package. Looks like he's got a little piece of rubber band keeping him in this pose. And I would imagine it's either like that, or the idea is so he's up and aiming. Remember in the show, he was aiming at that speeding car coming at him? I think that's kind of what they're going for here. It seems like this is already a better paint job than the re-release. I think a couple series in, they re-released Rick with a hat. So you can get an alternate version if you didn't buy the original version, because this was a pretty popular figure. Well, once more collectors jumped on and started collecting them, a lot of people were wanting another Rick, so they just added one with a hat. This, I got some kind of weird eyeball thing going on this one, but we'll do comparisons in a minute. So here's Rick with what I thought was blood on his face, and it looks like it is just blush, and he's looking to the side with his blue eyes. Got some scruff there. I'm trying to see it about the likeness. I don't really see Andy Lincoln there, but again, it's not horrible, especially for how small it is. And then you got this dry brushing brown to highlight his hair. Now, it looks ugly like that just because we are flashing a very bright light on it. But in person, when you look at it, it does look how it should look. It looks like a, gives it... Actually, you know what? In person, it does look like someone just scraped brown on his head. At a distance. Let me change that. And for some reason, they painted it. Yeah, that was weird. It kind of looks like mud on the top of his head. So they did it up here, and then they missed some down there. Anyway, McFarlane Toys does great with weathering and shirts and folds and wrinkles. Here's a sheriff's department patch on his side. He got his badge with his name. I think they even did a name later on the old one. And then the articulation, there's not much there. You got these weird cuts that don't make any sense, because then when you start moving them, it gets so awkward. Like, I think those cuts are just there to put the figure together, like you make it in parts. I don't think they actually design these to actually be articulation. Like, I don't see them putting these cuts in there thinking either kids would like to play with it and move it around, or adult collectors would like to move it to display it, because this is that useless articulation, I call it. I mean, it's there. It's a swivel in the upper thigh, but what are you going to do with it? Realistically, what do you do with this? I mean, I guess you can kind of get him in a little dance. Like, I don't know, maybe. But he's got bends at the knee. He has nice weathering and dirt and muck on the bottom of his pants there. Did a pretty good job. But like I said, the re-release looks the same. I'll show you that in a second. Here's his weapons. You have his Colt. You have the shotgun that was when they went against the Vatos. Didn't he put a shotgun to the guy's head or face? And then you have the grenade. It's cool that they include these little iconic items, like the grenade from the finale, the CDC, the shotgun for the Vatos. This is his signature weapon here. And then we have a bat for the first time he killed a walker with Morgan. And that would be the first time he himself killed a walker, I believe, but not in the show. Chronological order, yeah, but not the show's order. They show him killing the teddy bear girl. And then we got a walkie-talkie. Now, I was wondering if this was the same as the one they give you for the repaint, and it looks the same. Yeah, that's pretty much the same. Maybe different paint. And then the bat, I had a bat with another Walking Dead character. I forget who. I can't remember for the life of me, but they reused the same bat. And it is a different bat than the one they use for Negan. Negan's definitely looks different in size. Yeah, and the tip of the bat looks very different. So there's Negan's bat, and then there's Rick's. Anyway, figure-wise, here's his face. We'll go over the faces are the most important. And again, I think this remake is just, like, this came out first, and then a few years later, this one came out. And I think it's even the same sculpt. This one looks like he's got a, one of them looks like, yeah, maybe this looks like he has a wider face. But I think they only added the hat. There's no reason to re-sculpt it, I don't think. So they might have just added a hat onto that. I don't think that's a new face sculpt. But everything else is just the same except for repainted. It's identical. His stance, his outfit, it's literally the same except for, again, different paint. And this is a more cleaner shirt. This one's a little more weathered. They got a little crazy when it came to weathering. Even in The Walking Dead, if someone wears a clean shirt, McFarlane Toys, for some reason, puts a crazy amount of weathering and dirt and muck on it. I don't know why. If they're wearing a clean shirt, have it clean. His back, though, I like how the weathering came out. Made it look like he's sweaty and running around. It gives it a little more something to it instead of being plain like that. So, You guys let me know if you like I think I like this one better. The one without the hat. I don't know. Something looks clean and crisp on it. But they're pretty cool. And then season 2, which I don't remember what series this is. I think this was series 2 and then series 4. Because I know they re-released him. I think this is the re-released version. He's really cool. Got a lot of articulation. Heavy articulation with the wrists and stuff. But he's got that same crappy articulation in the legs where you can't even bend the knees. I mean, it looks cool statue-wise with the folds, the wrinkles, the paint. And again, these are 5-inch figures. So these are supposed to be small and very detailed. But he's got a lot of great articulation in the arms. And then they lose it with these legs. I don't know what they're doing here. But as far as the face, and I mean, see, just propping his gun up, this one is very cool to display because you get a lot of attitude here because of that little bit of articulation. But other than that, they kind of dropped the ball when it came to the legs. But as far as the face, that looks really close. That looks really close. Not to Andrew Lincoln. I mean, it does kind of for a 5-inch figure. It kind of resembles him. But as far as these two faces, if you told me they were the same sculpt, I would not be surprised. They look really similar. It might be just the paint job that's throwing it off. All right, I took a very close-up look at the fine details in the hair and then the face. And it is the same sculpt. It definitely is. Unless they change just a couple tiny things about it, it is identical. So you could have taken his head off and put it on this guy's body and probably gotten a Series 1 Rick. But yeah, this is the same exact head sculpt. I do really like the blood and the dirt here. I think it could have been weathered a little bit better or blended a little bit better. But again, it's a $14 toy at the time or $15 5-inch toy at the time or collectible. And I think they did a good job for what it was, minus the articulation. But yeah, that is the same exact head sculpt. Whether you're going to like this one better or that one is going to be depending on the paint job. So next up we have one of the most notoriously bad Ricks. Oh my God, I don't even want to show him on camera. It's getting better with the face sculpt, yes, or looking more like Andrew Lincoln, but it's hard to tell under all that god awfulness. What is going on at that factory when they made this guy? I remember the whole fan base was so excited when this guy released, and then once he poured on the shelves and almost every figure looked like an abomination of the paint. It was terrible. People did their own custom paint jobs and it looks just like Andrew Lincoln. For such a small figure, it's incredible. To have a sculptor spend, or however it's done, spend time getting this to look like Andrew Lincoln, and then to have some cheap company mess the paint job up. Hold on, let me get him nice and still. Yeah, have some cheap company mess the paint job up. Man, that must be heartbreaking for those, you know, if it's your job to make it look like him. But you can definitely tell that's Andrew Lincoln under there. That likeness is incredible. This must have been after they did scans or something, because that likeness is great. But you can see the paint job was bad. You want to see bad? Next up, we got this Rick. Hold on. Look at that. The camera is having a seizure. The camera doesn't even want to pick him up. Yeah, for real. The camera, hold on. The camera's like, no, I'm not doing it. Look at that. That is, it's just caked on mess. That is just terrible. Eyes crooked. just a wreck. The outfit, though, and the articulation is fine. You got bends at the knees. You got some articulation here. You can go up. You can do some stuff with it. You got a lot of articulation in arms and whatnot. I mean, he'd be cool otherwise. But that face, yikes. That's a yikes from me. And again, it's the same face. It's just the paint job is terrible. And then moving on, one of the most exciting for the fan base at the time. This is the no bullshit, rough and tough Rick with his murder jacket. One of my favorites. I think the paint job could have been improved for sure. However, a really cool looking figure. Really stiff in the body though. Gets in the way with the articulation. A really stiff figure. But he does bend at the elbows. Tiny bit of articulation in the wrists. And then articulation in the legs. But this Rick is pretty good. The likeness is a bit off. I don't know what happened there with the likeness. You could definitely tell it's him underneath. But then we got another re-release of maybe this head. And this is the Constable Rick. And now we're getting into the likeness that is on point for a clean-shaven Rick Grimes. I don't know what they did with the neck joint and everything else, but I think that likeness is pretty damn good. Again, for what it is, a 5-inch, $15 figure. You got hair done with good paint job there. Got a good paint job in his body. Yeah. And then I'm going to spill it. This is my favorite Rick that they have released so far. And I got him on clearance. He came with the Jesus and Daryl pack. Now, it looks like when I'm blasting it with the bright light, you can't really appreciate the subtlety of the paint when you look at it in a normal lit room. With the shadows, the way the shadows fall on the face. But if you can imagine this Rick sitting on the shelf, for what it is, a 5-inch figure, he looks incredible compared to the others. I mean, if I need to pull them out and show you side by side, if you saw both of these at the store, wait, let me get a good shot. You saw both of these at the store, and you're not a toy collector, but you want something that looks like your favorite character. You going to buy this guy? Or are you going to buy this guy? I mean, look at that. Let's compare them. You got plaid shirt Rick versus blue shirt Rick. You got the rough and tough. I do like the murder coat, so this is a tough one. You got these two are probably some of the best. Constable Rick versus Gray Beard Rick. Yeah, these are probably some of the two best likenesses as far as likeness. And then you have Season 2 Rick. You can tell they stepped their game up. You got this Rick. Actually, let's use this Rick first. Look at that face. He looks like he lost his mind and wiped shit all over his... Get out of here. You got this Rick that Chris sent. This is one of my favorites. Love him. Looks just like Andrew Lincoln. Okay, so in closing, I do have to say, I dig this a lot. For a Series 1 with shitty articulation, there's something crisp about this Rick without the hat. The paint job is not as weathered. You know, I think the only area would be the back, but you don't see that much. That could be improved. Other than that, I think they did a really good job with this. For a starting figure, and if you want to see the articulation, let me get this guy over here. The bend at the knee, it's not so much. You got that swivel at the top. I'm not sure why. And then again, bend at the knee here. It doesn't go much. It swivels. And then you have this cut here at the hip. Swivels up. Not sure, again, why you'd want to... And that's why I'm using this guy. I don't want to shatter the other one in case I'm a little rough with him. But he doesn't twist at all at the waist. He's got articulation that makes him look weird if you do anything with it. Let's do his arms down. He's doing a... Hey. I'm not sure what you can do with the articulation if you just keep him... Yeah, you got to kind of do something with it. So, but his arm will bend. And then he has articulation at the wrist. And then he's got some articulation in the head. And I believe this guy has similar articulation. Okay, you can go up and down a little bit. You can't really, yeah, side to side a little bit. And he can spin. And he's got the same arm articulation. I think they want it to go under. No waist. Yeah, this leg is stuck too. He's jumping. Jump shot. All right. There it is. A look at all the Ricks, I believe, to date. And a look at the Flashback Rick. I think this is a cool figure for inbox collectors especially. Something about the box. It really pops. But if you're buying a bunch of Rick figures and you want to put them on display, I think this one is actually a really neat one if you want to get them at a decent price. I know some people will throw it on eBay and they'll ask way more than it's worth. But if you keep watching, right around now, you can find this guy without breaking a sweat for 50 bucks to 40 bucks without breaking a sweat. You'll see a bunch of people throw them on for 100 or higher, and I think they're just holding on to a value that at this time isn't there. It might come back, but it's just not there yet because it did drop heavily. And that's probably why you haven't sold it yet if you do put it on eBay for a lot of money. But this is another one that was opened, making one less mint inbox figure on the market, helping to drive up some of that value for you guys. Don't fuck with me. That's what he's saying. But thanks, Chris, for sending this in for us to get a look at the very first Rick Grimes figure. And this was the very last one I bought. I'm not sure if he's the last one they released. I feel like he is. So from the very first to the very last, let me think. Unless I'm missing a Rick, which that could be the case. I doubt it, though. I think we looked at every Rick they made. But you guys leave your thoughts and opinions. Which one do you like the best? And do you collect these because you're a toy collector? Do you collect these because you're a Walking Dead collector? Do you collect them because you like how they look specifically to display? Or are you an inbox collector? Let me know. And also let me know what else you collect. Thanks again, Chris, for sending this in. Thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. And thanks for coming by the review room. Don't let the door kick you in the ass on the way out, or I'll shoot you in the fucking face.